I'd like to welcome you all to this talk on the extension capabilities of SAP Fiori. We're going to demonstrate this using the reference applications. My name is Ian Taylor. This is my colleague Ching Lee. We both work in the global design department at Waldorf. Basically means we are helping to promote the use of Fiori both internally within SAP development and within our customers and partners. What I'd like to talk about today is briefly what is SAP Fiori. First, I have a question. I was going to ask who knows about UI5. I think every hand would go up in this room. The question would be, who knows about SAP Fiori? Who's heard of SAP Fiori? Okay, most of you. Okay, and have some of you used extension capabilities of SAP Fiori? A couple. Okay, so I think it's perfect audience. So, what is SAP Fiori? Well, SAP Fiori is a whole approach at SAP designing interfaces, the user concept for all our business users in the system, and across all the lines of business, whether it be ERP, SAP for HANA, cloud solutions, or the newly acquired solutions such as SuccessFactors or Ariba. And the concept from Fiori says it should be role-based, meaning the business user has the information that he needs to do his job in the appropriate way. There should be adaptive, meaning he can use which device he wants to use. In the office, using his laptop. Traveling, he's using his mobile phone. The experience should work across all the different platforms. There should be simple, meaning one application has one specific task. Maybe think in the past we had very powerful transactions where you could do lots and lots of things. That's too complicated, we keep them simple. We also make them coherent, meaning you can recognize the apps instantly. You're very familiar layout, familiar design, makes them easy to use. And so with all this, we hope like to produce a very delightful user experience that our business users really want to use. So to support this concept, a lot of work has gone into the design. So for example, visual design, we have very strong guidelines at SAP which tell us what styling should be used, how big are the margins, all these kind of things. The information architecture as well, we have a lot of work gone into saying how should an interface work, how should messages be presented to a user, how do we edit an object. All these things have been very closely defined. And we have some very standard interaction patterns. So we have master detail list, an approval list. So this is the sort of design side, but from the technology point of view, because it's separated from front end and back end. We have a business logic, which could be typically in an ABAP system, connected by the gateway to the front end, and this is where the UI5 comes in. It might look here like a small part, but it's a crucial part for the front end. And here we see the launchpad, the SAP Fiori launchpad, which is the entrance to the system for a business user, where he sees the applications he needs to use for his job, grouped into various areas. He can also do a certain amount of configuration here. So change the layout, change out the applications. You could even change it to the high contrast black mode if he's visually impaired and needs something easier to read. So, I'll turn over to a colleague.
Okay, I hope it's okay. Yeah, thanks Ian, and thanks you all for coming here. And I'm going to talk about SAP Fiori Reference Applications. And you heard from Ian about the Fiori concept and the requirements from the UX side. And then now we come to the real implementation part, and let's see how UI5 help us to implement such kind of delightful application. And first of all, some words for the SAP Fiori Reference Applications. And we provide 4 stake examples, so it's end-to-end. We have the applications are reviewed even by the experts from different area, let's say the UX designers and OData modeling experts and back-end implementation guidelines or experts, not less of course our UI5 experts help us to use the latest and greatest features in our reference application. So I need to say it's ongoing projects in our reference applications. Maybe you just jump into sometime a while and maybe you will also see some new implementation features. Maybe the look and feel of the UIs may stay quite stable for a long time. And in the code, we have inline documentation and just explain you what this line means and that. If you want to get more information, detailed technical information behind it, you can go to the SCN link. I think this PowerPoint you will get later on after this event, and you will go through and then more information about every reference application. Currently, we provide 3 samples. It's the shop, represents the full screen application, and then we have the approved purchase order, what I will show later on in live, and manage products also on the master detail application, what we implemented. Okay, you can get, just like the OpenUI5 spirit, we also share our source code with you publicly. And you can go to SAP Web IDE. I guess you know Web IDE and maybe also have access. If you don't know, you can come to us. You can get it from the SAP HANA Cloud Platform Try account. At least you can get the SAP Web IDE. And from there, you can download our applications. Yeah, our applications have the mock server implementation. And so you can start the application already directly in the Web IDE if you don't have any back-end system there. But just let's say we have the full stack implementation. If you want to see the back-end implementation, you can go to the NetWeaver from 740 SP10 developer edition. Maybe you had it already in your house, and you just also can see the back-end implementation then. Otherwise, we also provide the system in the Amazon cloud. You maybe can also rent it for a period of time. Just have a look into it. Okay, now actually I want to go to the code in live. Okay, we are both application developer. Maybe we have, we always need to think how we organize our applications from a small one and from the big one, how we can find later on which part is for the UI part, which part is for the data part, what we get from the back end. So we got a lot of support from UI5, maybe also it's also promoted by UI5 in general. For example, the MVC design pattern, you just separate the different concern in different part. So I think I now just go into the live code. You also can see there. Okay, it's already the Web IDE. I have already a shop application downloaded here. Now I go to download the purchased. It's just for the Zoom. Okay, this one I want to look into it, so I select the approved purchase orders, and I need to confirm the license agreement. Then I can download it. It's there already. So you will see there's again very similar structure to the previous one, to the shop one, and what I mentioned before, we prefer the XML view in the Fiori development. We like the decorative mode to describe our UIs. And this one, maybe you can already see, this is the master page. There's list items in that describes all the items, what can be. And even in this descriptive mode, we have also, I guess it's the last year, we have also the expression binding capability from the UI5. So in this view, you can also provide some very simple logic there. You can, to get the information from UI5, if currently you are working in the phone or not, and then what kind of list mode you can choose or not. So I think it's really, help you to get less code and less problems, less bugs. So I think it's very useful feature here. Now, okay, view part, controller part, we have, I think already you are maybe all the UI5 experts. I think it's last year when UI5 introduced the AMD mode to include the modules. Then you can also see the SAP UI define mode. You can get the dependencies in the runtime. So I think I just jump it. For our application, so IATM fold is also very important, and so we want to have the users from different countries. So it's also in the UI5 framework. You just use it, and then you can make your application available around of the world. So there's some further point is the mock implementation. We put it now in the local service fold. There's the out-of-box and the mock server implementation from UI5 framework. Here we need to provide our own implementation because we use the function import here about the approve and reject purchase order. Here all the implementation, you can have a look into it. I don't need this box. Okay, now let's start the application. Okay, there's some, I start always from the test HTML. So it showed you again, let's make it a little bit big. It's just a start page. Then you can again choose if your application should run against the real backend system, if you have one. If not, just start the test FLP service HTML. It's against the mock server, so you can run it just directly in the Web IDE. So now we will have the already classic Fiori mass data applications here. Just make it. Okay. Here is some kind of standard application provided by SAP. Maybe you ask, oh, my customer want to have further information in this view. Can I put some other text here, or replace someone, or provide my own business logic behind this application? Yes, it's possible. So before I give up to my colleagues for the extension project, I just want to show you what we need to prepare in SAP. Of course, every domain expert, let's say the product owner, need to decide where they want to provide the extension and where is possible, where is not possible. It really depends case by case. So you can see in the view we have here says between object header and the simple form. We say, okay, for this application, the customer can also provide their own additional UIs between this view. So you can see there's the core also from the SAP UI5 framework, and there's an extension point. Let's say the object you can provide here. And in the business logic, let's go to the controller. There's also very nice, it's really based on the JavaScript language capability. So we provide the hook here, and after the data received, the binding view, and we have the data come back from the back end, and then we provide the hook here. If you implemented this one in your extension project, then it will be executed automatically. If not, it's also no problem. There's no exception here. Okay, so I think I give to my colleague again.
So thank you, Ching. We're now allowed to demonstrate how you can extend a Fiori application using these techniques without making a modification to the original application. And to do that, we're going to use the extension pane in the Web IDE. But first we need to create an extension project. So I create a new extension project, and this is based on a project we already have in the repository. Normally you would probably pick it out of an ABAP repository or some other repository. Oops, next. So the system will create a project for me based on the original project. If I open it now, it'll try to use our data, so we're using mock data, so don't do that. So you see we've already now got our extension project. And under Tools, we have the extension pane, and we can use it with mock data because we have no data service connected from this in this system. And what the extension pane does, it shows us the application with an outline of the application. Okay, here we are. And there's two modes. We're currently in the preview mode, but I can go into extensibility mode, and this then highlights the extensions and hooks that my colleague showed you and where they fit into the screen. So this, okay, make this slightly smaller. Yeah. So, okay. So if you imagine we've looked at this application and said, yeah, I would like to roll this out to our users, but perhaps someone says, well, it would be a nice idea when a user comes to approve a purchase order, he should be reminded that there's a policy and how he should approve these and when he should have concerns. So we decide we should like to add in a text after the header. So I see in this application I have indeed an extension point marked with a spanner, and by clicking on this point I can see I'm marked immediately the extension point in the outline. So with the right mouse click I can say extend, and I'll be presented with my own little view, XML view. I can add in my own control. Close some of these sessions. So I already created before, where's the best? Here I have simply a label. Which I'm going to insert into my view. So that's all I needed to do. I can either run in test mode like a colleague showed you, or I can go back to the extension pane and use the preview mode. Oh, here, yeah. So the screen's so big, I'm thinking, where's it gone? So here's the text immediately, and now I have a view, my own view, which doesn't modify the original view. Okay. So the business user's taking a look at this application. It looks quite good, but what's this here? What's this multi-select button thing? So well, if you select this, it allows the user to select more than one purchase order, and at once to approve several orders. but decide, well, that's not really very nice. We really want each user to actually decide per purchase order. So let's try and see if we can get rid of this button, so approve all. And of course here we can, got a nice feature to hide controls. And now we need to switch again to extensibility mode. And if I select this button, I can see immediately the control that's represented in the outline. And with the right mouse click, I can simply say hide control. So I can say refresh because I don't need to add in more coding now. Of course, this relies upon the developer has given each control an ID in the view. But if it's missing, raise an error, raise an incident now that should be there. So we're back into preview mode. I swap back into multi-select mode, and we can see now our button has been hidden. Again, a very simple customizing action to hide a button. So imagine we roll this application out to our business users, and after a couple of months somebody decides, well, it is actually a bit annoying to approve small items, sort of $10, whatever, individually. Let's think of a way to make it easier. And we come up with the idea that you can make a multiple approval as long as the total sum of those orders is less than $10,000. Okay. So first of all, I'm going to put my button back in. So in the extensibility mode, I can simply do a right mouse click on my configuration and say remove the extension. But now we need some kind of logic. We need some logic in our controller to decide when to show the button. So I need to find my hook. I say I need to look in the controller. And here we have the purchase order summary controller, and there we now see the hook that was defined in the controller. So I'd like to implement this, and again with a right mouse click, I can say implement this. This time I need to open the code because I need to add some logic in. That's not the controller. Oh, no, too fast. Okay. Anyway, oops. Here's the hook, or the implementation of the hook, I should say. Again, like all the best presentations, I prepared it before. No, contrary. So important, save this, and I can make it look a bit better with the beautify. Slightly better. Basically, what this does, by default, it hides the button again. And then we go over each of the selected purchase orders out of the local model to find out the total gross amount, or the gross amount from each purchase order, and we sum those. And if at the end we say it's less than $10,000, then we will show the button again. If it's more, it will remain hidden. So this time I choose to run the application directly. So here we are again in our simulation mode. I choose the multiple select mode. I choose one order, less than $10,000, and we see the approve all button remains. Choose a second order, which takes the total sum now to just over $10,000. Then the button is then hidden. So this way you can add logic to the controller without amending the controller. And the good thing about the hook is that it's a kind of API that SAP will support. It won't fly out from one region to the next. It's a standard defined place in the coding which we will support. So that brings me to the end of our presentation. I think we've got a couple of minutes for any questions. If anyone's got any questions. Oops. Yeah. So perhaps the main takeaways from the presentation. Look at the reference apps. We have 3 available externally. Colleagues said we've spent a lot of time working on them. We've worked with the colleagues from UI 5. And we've also, importantly, and that somebody else should look at, is the UX guidelines from Fiori. It's available publicly, all the guidelines, how to lay out a Fiori application. It's a very valuable source of information. We even worked with the colleagues who wrote those guidelines, they tried the guidelines out with us. And yes, of course, you can try and configure your Fiori apps. Oh.
Do you have any questions? Yes.
The components bundled within the OpenUI 5 libraries, are they fully along with the Fiori UX guidelines?
You mean the individual controls?
No, they're external controls.
The controls provided with the framework.
That we provide. Yes, they are, yes.
Yeah, they also work together with the UX designers to provide the Fiori confirmed aligned controls. For example, we are currently using the Blue Crystal theme, so it's specifically for the Fiori design. If you also use it, it will be looked similar to the normal Fiori applications.
But those guidelines are binding for internal development. I mean, and the people doing the applications, the Fiori applications, they have design reviews, so they must adhere to these guidelines. And if there are exceptions, then it's an error. I mean.
I have a question about the reference apps and stuff. Let's assume I take this reference app and I add some extension points, some custom stuff. And in 1 year, you guys develop a version 2 of that reference app. Is there a way to seamlessly merge a new version into my older version of that reference?
Yes, you will do, because we created an extension project which sits on top of the original project, and as long as we don't change the delivered application, which we shouldn't do, then it remains compatible, and because it's an add-on on top of what SAP delivers. So the hook remains. The hook will still be implemented. It's a combination of the original application and the extension application.
Okay, but maybe still I'm not now 100% sure. I think it's in your responsibility, but in the end I would say what was shown by the colleagues, how to extend the application was more a sample, how to extend the standard delivery application. I think the reference applications are not in the first place meant for being used on the long run and extend them. So these are samples, how to make it a code template to see all the best practices. With this one we strongly recommend them, but to take them as somehow a source for extending this app towards your needs, I think is not the...
No, that's correct.
This is of course just a sample of showing this kind of technology. So how does extensibility in the Fiori space work?
And that's the.
So and then you can go and take the application that you actually want to extend, so and look for those extension hooks and use Web IDE in the way we showed here. So this is just showing the technique.
This was a condition that you can use them, but you can use them for examples, but you can't take that application and make it a productive application.
And also, I think we had a discussion before what is somehow best practices and guidelines. I think here I can also strongly underline the message. So also, if you look, for instance, how to write accessible applications. Also, we have these applications. They are checked. Some of them, at least, we have maybe should that make also clearer. So what are, let's say, best practices? Also, accessibility and all this stuff. And so these things you will find within this reference application. So I definitely think it's a good place and a valuable place to start. Also looking into how to write applications best.
I have to ask another question, which is that I guess those reference apps, they use SAP UI 5, not OpenUI 5, so most probably they're using controls that in the OpenUI 5 environment you're not having, right? License, so the charting libraries and so on.
Or I think most of these controls I would assume are.
Yeah, maybe you're right. There's like the smart stuff, the smart filter bar, and so forth, and the charts. Yeah, that are probably beyond UI5 scope.
But we have seen in this application.
These are standards.
Approval is very simple, but the others might have here and there others, because that's rather about, let's say, partners and customers that use the standard SAP applications won't extend those. Of course, they have access to the whole Monty of controls and stuff.
Some more questions.
Question. So that's nice. I didn't know about this extensibility. Is it also possible to develop own apps and build this extensibility hooks? And if yes, where we can find some resources about this?
You can build exactly your own application, like our application. That's just what we want to show. Maybe you want to give your application to partner, to customer,
yeah,
and
exactly.
they can
so that's the idea.
Right? You mean about the documentation now?
How to build a hook.
Okay.
So that's the point. So, or for example, let's have you have a template of an app, and you have a lot of customers, and you know, okay, 90% is always the same, and you build like a standard app of some extension.
Exactly the purpose. Yeah.
It's part of the Fiori guidelines. There's one of the gazillion guidelines is about extending.
Yeah, it's in the developer guide. The developer guide. There's extending your apps.
But also looking into the source codes of this application, you'll also find unique and elderly extension points, and you can do it exactly in the same way.
Okay.
So, question.
This extensibility exists in the Fiori apps as they stand.
Yes, it does. Yes. And
how far back does that go? Because you say you favour XML views. Wave 1 and 2 uses JavaScript views.
yeah.
So we don't have any extensibility to the early applications.
At least not that kind. There was an old extensibility standard at that time. Yeah.
Is there
this was somehow surpassed
by
this later technology.
Yeah. So there's a lot of stuff.
But what we'll quite usually can find, there's a guide to all the SAP delivered Fiori apps, and there's a description of all the extension points available and all the hooks.
Can you provide a link to that?
Yes, I've got it in here somewhere. I'll give it to you.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
One last question: is it possible to build, to create multiple extensions for one app? For instance, for additional
extensions.
Extension implementations.
Extension projects.
So
Extension projects.
now then somehow, that's what I raised in my initial presentation. That is the UI5 flexibility. We slightly modify what we do technically for extensions. So with the new way of extension, so they are still supported and therefore it's completely okay. But with the new kind of extension, you will not have a separate project. You will have, let's say, variants of one application, and these variants, so to say, are, you can have several ones, and you have somehow a key structure to decide which of these variants is used. Therefore, yes, you will in the future can have different ones, and you can also have them layered ones. So you can say, okay, you take the original one for SAP, you can take the original one just to produce pay, you take this as a starting point, and then do your branches. So this is completely layered. Also around globalization, you can have country-specific variants, so this is about to come.
But I guess SAP also will need to deliver multiple layered applications for country versions and industry solutions.
Something we need to do offline now.
I have maybe one 30-second additional comment that I was asked by a colleague to bring here into this forum, which is like we're currently doing a document, or by now it's rather a novel already, that shows how to get from, if you start a UFF template wizard, you get a small project already on your own data, and to come from that to a real final application, like a reference application. There are a lot of things to do and to consider, so we created a document to describe that, which is now in final review. And if somebody is interested to look into that, just approach me. And so if you want to contribute maybe in this phase before it gets public, you have a chance to do so, and we would be glad if somebody is interested. And second very short comment, we are also pirates.
Okay, thank you very much. I can show you that.